Welcome to Mid-State Money Talk. My name is Cynthia DiFazio, joined today by Kevin Deitrich and Joe Deitrich, partners at First Choice Financial Services, Incorporated. And to our viewers at home, we're going to talk a little bit about the American dream today. Well, what does that mean to you? When you think of the American dream, are you thinking about your steady career and you're easing yourself into retirement? Do you see the house with the white picket fence? Well, we're going to talk about how sometimes people can feel that maybe those goalposts have been moved and that they can't achieve the American dream of retirement. Thankfully, Joe and Kevin specialize in this each and every day, and we're going to talk about how you go from the accumulation phase of life to the preservation phase of life. And why would you want to do that? So that you can hold on to your very own piece of the American dream. Depending on what your vision for retirement is, Joe and Kevin are very passionate about making sure that your dream becomes reality. So thank you for being with us today. Kevin, how are you?
I'm great, Cynthia. How are you?
So good to be with you. And Joe, how are you?
Doing well. It's a great day for a great day.
It's a great day for a great day. Let's have one today.
That's right.
I love the idea of the American dream because when we were setting up the show and talking about this, everyone thinks about that house with the white picket fence, sitting on the porch having lemonade, and that's how you kind of see your retirement. Yeah. But sometimes if you're watching the news, you can feel like, oh my gosh, this is way out of reach. But really, your goal and your passion is to make sure that people can be the architect of their own financial future for retirement. Yep. Kind of a launch pad, if you will. So Kevin, I should ask you the foundations of the dream, if you will, shifting from accumulation to preservation. Why is that sometimes so difficult for people that are exiting the workforce to kind of shift their mindset a little bit?
Sure, that's a great question because I think it just comes down to the emotional part of it. There's the emotional standpoint, point in retirement. It's definitely an emotional decision. We actually had a workshop just the other day, and I mentioned this, and the gentleman in the back said, I'm retired, and I can fully 100% agree with what you're saying. It was a huge emotional shift for me to go from growing my money in the market to shifting to the preservation stage or decumulation stage, if you want to, or distribution. We talk. There's three different phases, three different ideas in that particular scenario.
Yes.
So you basically just shift from accumulating your wealth, like as far as the market returns and trying to grow your money as fast as you can, as much as you can, to the decumulation or the preservation stage. It's not that you don't want to still grow your money, but now you have to start using those funds for income.
Yes.
RMDs play a big factor when we hit later ages. Having guaranteed sources of income is really important. Tax planning is very, very important when it comes to that. So a lot of times the box financial advisors out there, they don't really focus on that preservation stage. They just focus on the accumulation phase. Yep. So we focus on both, and we feel like that's the best way to handle our planning for the clients.
I love that, Kevin. And Joe, I should ask you this next question. What role does guaranteed income play in making retirement feel like a true achievement rather than a source of stress?
Source of stress, yeah. Yeah, so guaranteed lifetime income, what does that even mean, right?
Yes.
Kevin touched on it, whereas we're moving from a very particular mindset of growth to something different, and that can be scary. And with that comes uncertainty. So, how do we bring some certainty into that situation? Guaranteed lifetime income sounds like a very, jargonish word, but we're really talking about sources of money or sources of income that you can't outlive. So your Social Security check is going to be guaranteed lifetime income. You might have a pension, or you might have set up some sort of annuity contract that's going to be turned on at some point, and you can't outlive those sources of income. Those bring a lot of certainty to at least your base of what you can spend or want to spend in retirement. So, we kind of talk about our paychecks and playchecks. This is our paychecks. This is going to make sure that we always can pay our bills, and then we can plan on top of that for all of the lifestyle things that we really, really want. So it's super, super important.
Okay.
What's interesting is that I had a discussion with a lady on the plane coming here.
Okay.
And she mentioned, we talked about what we do for a living, and she's like, well, what advice could you give to me? I said, well, a lot of times this is what the advice that we give to people is that a lot of times you focus on accumulation. And so when is your Social Security going to be enough? I asked her this question for income in your retirement. She's, oh, no, definitely. So where are you going to take the income from? Well, from my 401k or from the IRA. I said, what if it goes down 40% like it did in 2008?
Good question.
And she's like, well, then I have to ride it out. I said, what if you set up a guaranteed, another stream of income that's guaranteed that if it does drop, it doesn't hurt your income stream. And she loved that.
Absolutely.
She never thought about that before.
Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of people are hearing things for the first time. And viewers at home, if you're wondering how do you create your own retirement dream, the American dream, I would love to use this opportunity to put the phone number up, how to reach Kevin and Joe. The number is on your screen, 888-959-2743. There's really nothing more important than planning for your retirement years. Taking control of your financial future is the first step. Calling in 888-959-2743. So Kevin, I want to talk a little bit about, these are almost like little termites, if you will, in someone's retirement plan, really talking about the American dream of the beautiful home, kind of going in that way. But inflation, how does that impact someone's long-term purchasing power if you're not preparing for inflation?
I don't think inflation is a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
You
we're
think it's a
okay
big
with
deal?
it? I mean, I like paying $75 for eggs. I mean, I think it's great.
I'm just obviously playing around here, but inflation is a huge deal. It's like a silent tax that you don't even know it's there. It's like those hidden fees that they keep creeping up in our credit card statement.
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's just that irritation that just is there, something you have to live with.
Why is the checkbook not going as far as it did 3 months ago?
Yeah.
You can't figure out where it is.
I still make the same amount of money,
Yeah.
and my bills are the same. Well, no, they're not. Check your grocery bill.
Yeah.
That's probably risen. Check your gas bill.
Yes.
I often ask this question when we talk about our workshops I have to say, who remembers the price of gas when you first started driving? Well, that really shows people's ages, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
So, one guy said it was like 15 cents. I'm thinking, 15 cents? That's like a long time ago.
Yes.
You must be really old. He's like 65.
Okay.
So I think he was a little bit silly there for a minute. But when I started driving back in 1990, it was like 95 cents a gallon. Now it's almost some places over $5 a gallon.
Yes.
And that's inflation. Yeah. And does our dollar that we make income-wise keep up with that? Typically not.
Typically not.
So between 2015 and now, so what's that? That's just a little over 10 years. All item inflation. So frontline inflation is up over 40%. So things that cost you a bucket of goods cost you $100 in 2015, it costs you $140+ now.
Oh
That's
my
just 10 years.
gosh.
And included in that 10-year period were years of inflation where we had less than 1% or less than 2% inflation. So there were other years that inflation was significantly higher than that. And if you're averaging out at 3.5, 4% inflation, think about that. You have a year of 1% inflation and a year 2021 over 7% inflation. So it can sneak up you very quickly. It's not linear. It doesn't always just predictably go up every 3% every year type of thing.
How do you plan for that?
Exactly.
You can't really plan for that. You just have to plan that it's going to keep increasing. Healthcare costs, taxes. You think the tax structure that we have now is going to be a tax structure when you're 10 years from now or 15 years from now?
Probably not.
Depends on who's president, right?
Right.
So our healthcare costs, we just talked about this at dinner last night with a bunch of people, that our healthcare costs keep rising, and it's more than sometimes than the inflation that we typically see.
Yep.
And so, we plan for that the best we can with certain numbers, but we still can't plan for the ultimate pinpoint accuracy on that.
We don't have a crystal ball. We need to be prepared. We can't predict, so we need to be able to stress test our parameters and find out, are we on track? And, what does, and here I think we're going to bring it the whole way back to the first question. Yeah. What does the American dream, the retirement American dream look like? What does it look like for you? Cynthia mentioned the white picket fence and the lemonade on the porch, and that might be your dream. That might have been your parents' dream. That might not be your dream at all, and that's okay. But what is your American dream, or what is your retirement dream? What does that look like? Everything that we do should be pointing towards what your individual goal is for that next stage of life.
We challenge our clients to dream.
Yes.
And a lot of them are saying, I want to go on vacations. I want to do all these vacations. Well, you think they're going to be more expensive or less expensive as you continue going with inflation? So those are things we have to plan for and be prepared, be proactive.
Yep.
Well, I know everyone is anxious to call in right now and to book that consultation. So
Yes,
to
they
our
are.
viewers at home, there is a number for you to call on your screen. That number is 1-888-959-2743. Again, 888-959-2743. We're talking all about the American dream on today's show, talking about how you can have the retirement of your dreams. And think about this for just a moment. You've worked your entire life to get there. Don't you deserve to have peace of mind? It starts with one phone call today, 888-959-2743, or we'd like to invite you also to grab your smartphone, open up the camera app, and simply click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That'll be the fast track to get on the schedule at First Choice Financial Services. We're going to take a very short commercial break, but we want you to think about something for just a second. Kevin touched on taxes. Tax rates right now, they may not be the same in the future. So how does tax planning help overall really secure your retirement nest egg? Stay tuned. We're going to tackle that when we come back.
How I got in the world of finance? My brother-in-law had a friend that was in the business, and he was looking to find an agent, and I was looking for a job. I was really hesitant, almost didn't do it. But then I thought, I got to have a job while I'm looking for a future, and so that's why I took it. And then one day I was asked to deliver a death claim check to a family. This was a very emotional situation, and my son was there watching this whole thing. So as I sat down and went over the amount of the money and how it should be spent, she was just up and hugging me and thanking me. And at that point in time, it hit me that what I'm doing is really important. It's not just being in the life insurance business. And so it was just a few months till I was independent. I couldn't do what I wanted to do as a captive agent. As an independent, it allowed me to be flexible with my time. And now the blessing is that Kevin, that young man I was talking about, he is now joining me in my practice. And his brother, Joe is joining me in the practice. So the future of First Choice Financial Services is in great hands.
Welcome back to Mid-State Money Talk. My name is Cynthia DiFazio, joined today by Joe and Kevin Deitrich, partners at First Choice Financial Services Incorporated, and we're talking all about the American dream, your dream of retirement, and making sure that you can keep that dream. We know that you're probably confused as to where to go for information, so thank you for always tuning in each and every week. We're going to talk a little bit about tax planning right now, because think about this. Right now, taxes are a known rate. What happens if they shift? What happens if they actually move? And how does that derail your retirement plan without proper tax planning? And Joe, I want to ask you, obviously, so many people, when they're saving money into these pre-tax accounts and they're getting ready to retire, do people sometimes get confused with what tax implications could be in these retirement accounts?
Yeah, confused, or really just haven't had the time to educate themselves as to what's going on there. And every investment tool is just that, it's a tool. Every account has a particular tax structure that we need to be aware of. So, let's just start with your 401k or your 403b, your pre-tax employer-sponsored retirement plan, right? That's what the majority of us are using that as our primary tool to save for retirement. And if we're putting that all in pre-tax money, that means every dollar down the road, an unknown tax rate is going to come out and be taxed. So, like you said, we know what the tax rates are now, and let's just say we're in moderately a 22% tax bracket.
Okay.
That's more than 1/5 of that account. So if you have $1 million in your 401k account and that's your goal and you feel really good about that, not all of that belongs to you. Over 1/5 of that belongs to the federal government, just the federal government.
Wow.
So 22%, that's more than 1/5. So less than 800,000 of that is actually yours. The others is promised to somebody else. And that's in today's tax rates.
Wow.
Right? So, considering current spending, federal deficit, all of those parameters, is it likely that future tax rates are going to go down or go up? What do you think? Right.
I think they're probably going to go up.
Sure. Yeah. So
that would be my guess.
The 22% could be a conservative rate based upon the future that might be coming out and to you, sometimes in a forced arena in the RMD age, at a much higher rate.
Our tax structure only planned out to 2028, so who knows what's going to happen after that.
That's true.
So we just need to be proactive and just understand that there'll be some tax implications there from our IRA, 401ks, employer plans that are tax deferred.
Sure. Always being cognizant of legislative risk, I think, is so important when it comes to taxes.
Absolutely.
But Kevin, I want to ask you about proper tax diversification. How can that help someone, protect someone, if you will, from the federal tax rate, even if it hikes up?
Sure. Like Joe mentioned, most of our money that we've saved all over our life is in a tax deferred account, either a 401k, 403b, IRA. It's in there because of the tax advantage that we had going into it. And so we need to be diversified and not have all of our eggs in one basket, per se, from a tax structure standpoint. Diversification is not just, are you in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, save money. It's also in tax structure as well. Do you have some money in a brokerage account, a taxable account? Do you have money in a Roth? That's really important. And so where do Roth conversions play a factor into that? They play a huge factor in our planning anyway, about bringing some of the IRA funds or 401k funds to Roth. That's non-taxable. So that's all diversification in the tax system.
So what you're saying is I might have too much money in my 401k. Well, you might have maybe too much money concentrated in a pre-tax position.
Correct.
Yes.
And some tax diversification could be helpful. People come to us and we're sitting down and we're working and we find out, man, we're 99% in this one tax bucket. And how do we, with the time that we have and the goals that we have of a retirement date, how can we, improve that situation? And that's a big part of our planning, and it can make a big, big difference.
Right now, I want to encourage people sitting at home. If you're sitting home and you're listening to this, you're thinking, well, I have a lot of money in my IRA, I have a lot of money in my 401k or my 403b. You're probably right.
Yes.
So what do we do about that? Right now, we are in such a favorable tax structure. So let's do some Roth conversions now. And we know the tax. So you're controlling the tax that you're paying on that money when it comes out to be converted to Roth at this point.
Makes sense.
We don't know what it's going to be in the future. So let's do it now. Call the number, come in and see us, and let's get this started.
Most definitely. The other thing I want to talk about, obviously, the stock market, if you will. It's a roller coaster ride. It goes up and down. So how do you help someone mitigate risk, Joe, if something happens with the market and it does a downturn, especially in the early years of retirement? We know a lot of you at home like to just go online and check to see where your numbers are every single day, and you might panic a little bit. What guidance do you have for those
So
folks?
what you're saying is that the market doesn't always just go up?
Nope, it's not flatlining. It's
right. And
My market just goes like this all the time.
right.
you're special.
Okay.
You are special. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're all subject to market risk. If we're investing in the market, we have to realize that there is a downside, that we may have a reduction in our overall portfolio, and how do we manage that?
Yes.
But more particularly, and I think in what you're asking is, how does that impact our plan to retire and our viability of not running out of money? And that's a sequence of return risk. So if you had two different people and they both had $1 million in the market and they both averaged the same 8% over a 25, 30-year period, they might actually have very different results at the end, because that's just an average. We're taking 30 years, ups and downs, and we average them all out, we got a number. That's great. But in reality, the sequence of how those returns came in, did we have a drop early in those 20 to 30 year period? And if we did, now we're taking money out of it, and the market is taking money out of it as it's going down. And that significantly has a negative impact on our returns. And that client B might actually run out of money, even though they had the same average return.
That's
Client
crazy.
A that had maybe a downturn, but it was in the middle or later segment of those years, fine. They're giving money to their kids and grandkids.
Yeah.
So understanding that it's not only just the average return, but the sequence of those returns, and preparing from a time segment as to how we draw income and from where, super, super important.
Yes.
And it's something that we want to structure as we put our plan together, and that really provides a lot of confidence.
Most definitely, Joe and Kevin. Thank you
It's
so
also
much.
based on being proactive, I think, a little bit too, as far as, you may be a little bit higher risk as you're working.
Yes.
Because the money that you're putting in is buying stock at a lower price, even if the market comes down. So you're constantly putting money into the 401k, and even so the market comes down, that's okay. You're buying in at a lower rate, you're getting a better return when it comes up.
Right.
Great. But when you start approaching retirement, a lot of times our risk needs to change.
Yes.
And so typically that's what we see from our experience, that the risk should change. Fine. Does your portfolio change based on the risk? You're changing your risk. sometimes not. So we need to be proactive when it comes to that. So
Yeah.
in a downturn doesn't really affect us as much if our risk level is maybe a little bit lower.
Perfect. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Sure.
To our viewers at home, there's a number for you to call on your screen. We invite you to call in. The number is 888-959-2743. We're talking today about building the American dream of retirement. We talked about some tax strategies, but are you wondering how these can be personalized for your specific situation? Well, the team of First Choice Financial Services Incorporated, they're inviting you into the office today. Come in and sit with someone one-on-one and let them get to know you. What are your goals? What are your dreams? And what are your hopes for retirement? These plans are customized for your specific situation, not your neighbor next door, not your brother, but specifically for your situation. So my question to you is, when is the last time that someone has taken that level of care with your financial future? Call in today, book that consultation, 888-959-2743. No obligation. We'll be right back momentarily. Don't go anywhere.
He's always there when you think the night belongs to you. Want to remove Uncle Sam from your retirement?
Welcome back to Midstate Money Talk. My name is Cynthia DiFazio, joined today by Joe and Kevin Deitrich, partners at First Choice Financial Services Incorporated. And if you're just joining us for this final segment, we've been talking about the American dream of the beautiful retirement and how you can preserve your nest egg. Well, once you have it preserved, are you also thinking about future generations? Because estate planning is a huge part of the American dream for most people. So we're going to dive into that this final segment, talking about legacy planning. And when you think about that, Kevin, so many people are passionate about making sure that future generations can be protected as well. So how does a comprehensive estate plan fit into the overall vision of a successful retirement for most people?
Well, obviously, people are concerned about the money that we've worked for all of our life going to the people we want it to go to.
Yes.
And so that's where estate plan comes into play. It's a fancy term. It's a very widely used term, but it simply means give the money that you've established and worked for and sacrificed and grown to your kids or your loved ones, tax-free as possible, right? That's the whole point. And so how do we do that? Well, there's ways to do that. And part of our planning is leaving that legacy to the kids or the grandkids or whoever you want it to go to. And so that's very, very important when it comes to our planning.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, and there's some fundamental pieces that need to be put into place, whether that's a will, a trust, obviously low-hanging fruit. Do we have our beneficiaries designated properly?
Yes.
Do we have medical directors, power of attorneys, all of these things, all that put together. But Kevin's right. Like the goal is that, you're taken care of first. Your wishes, both pre and post deceased, are adhered to, right? So what you have goes to who you want it to go to.
So a question I have is, how do you help construct this so that it doesn't cause tension or chaos in a family when you're talking about wealth transfer? And I'm not laughing about that, but it does happen. We've all seen families fight over things like that. What do you possibly do?
Communication is huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know, sit down with your families. Tell them what's going on, I recently personally just had my will done.
Okay.
I know, I'm an advisor. I just personally had my will done. But a lot of folks that were in their 60s going into retirement don't have those things in place.
Yeah.
And we cannot laugh at that. It's laughable, but it's also very serious.
Absolutely.
What if something would happen to you when you left the office today?
Yeah.
It's going to go through probate. There's going to be some legal actions going on. So there's a lot of things that we can do that can avoid probate.
Yes.
Okay, so but sit down, be transparent with your kids and your loved ones, your family. Have meetings, explain to them what's going on, what your wishes are.
Yes.
Tell them where the documents are. Tell them who to go see. Go see Joe and Kevin at First Choice Financial.
Yeah.
That's who would give you the direction on where to go, what to do, how to get the funds. Those are just being transparent. Communication is huge.
Yep.
Yes. And I'm thinking of you as the shoemaker's son, because obviously you're busy taking care of others, that you weren't taking care of yourself is where my mind went on that. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. You just put it off, it's just,
Well, you
I'll do it later.
Yeah, you're like, I want to
When's
work on
later
this
coming?
client. I'll put my stuff to. I know what you mean. So, Joe, what about those who are charitably inclined, that who want to leave gifts to maybe charities? What kind of avenues do they have in front of them?
Yeah, remember your retirement dream is
Yes.
different than somebody else's, and yours might be to have your check to the funeral home bounce. You know what I mean? Like we're going to spend it all and we're out of here. But you might be completely opposite, and you might be inclined to, it's really important that we create a fund that's going to help our next generations, or maybe some organizations that we're really passionate about. And there's ways that we can do that as well. So, like I said, all of our planning wants to focus on what your goals is. But if you're the latter, we're going to be talking about things like, charitable distributions from your retirement accounts, or setting up something like a donor-advised fund where you're funding that while you're still alive, and maybe have some favorable, tax implications there. But then it can be used to give to charitable organizations even after you pass, and you're really creating a legacy at that point. So, regardless of whatever it is that your retirement goal is, whether it's the former or the latter, we would love to partner with you and sit down and see where you're at and how we can help you. So please give us a call. The number's on the screen, 888-959-2743. When you call, you're going to get to speak to somebody and get on our calendars, and we will be in touch with you really, really shortly after that. So we look forward to hearing from you.
Love to see you.
Absolutely, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Viewers at home, Kevin and Joe would love to see you, but how do you get in touch with them? Let me give you that number one more time, 888-959-2743. When you're talking about your retirement years, remember, these are your dreams. These are your wishes. These are your visions for happiness. Don't you deserve to have peace of mind? And don't you deserve to have the attention that you need? That's the one thing I can't stress enough. Someone who truly cares about you and that truly listens and wants to serve you. That number is on the screen. It's complimentary, 888-959-2743. We've made it even simpler. If you have a smartphone, simply grab that, open the camera app, click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. Thank you for spending time with us today on Mid-State Money Talk. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and live out the retirement of your dreams. We'll see you soon.